Well, hello everyone. This is part 2 of a 3-part series that we're doing on how you can help your teenager deal with anxiety related to schoolwork or their academic success. And today we're going to be talking about building connection and like 3 strategies you can use for building connection on this topic. So let's get started. Well, hello again, everyone. My name is Jim White, and I'm an author, coach, and the founder of the Family Enrichment Academy. And today we're dealing with part 2 of a 3-part series on helping your teenager deal with anxiety around schoolwork. And today we're going to be talking about building connection. Now, before we jump into that, though, I wanted to ask you to make sure to stick around to the end of the video. I've got some information on a free resource. It's built around 10 questions that you should never ask your teenager. So be sure to stick around to the end, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. So back to our topic for today. So just to recap from the first part of series 1, if you will, or part 1 of this series, we talked about shifting your mindset and getting yourself into a good love-based mindset so that you now are in a position to connect with your teenager. So we're going to assume that you've got that accomplished and you've had some forgiveness, gratitude, and compassion. You're in a good place. So now the question becomes, how can you use this scenario, or in this scenario, how can you build some connection? And the first thing I would throw out is the idea of being curious. And what I mean by that is to ask some questions, some curiosity-based questions. So your teenager's struggling, they're having some issues with classes and they're feeling a little bit overwhelmed. You could ask them, what is it that you feel most overwhelmed about? Or what class do you feel like you're struggling with the most? You see how that's a curiosity question. You're trying to engage them a little bit and find out a little bit more about what's going on for them. Where do you feel like you could maybe do some things differently? These are all questions designed to get them to open up and talk a little bit more. And then as they share information around these questions, the second and third step of this is to acknowledge and validate what they're sharing. So acknowledgement's this is the process of repeating it back. So let's say you ask them, what is it that you're struggling with the most, or what class do you feel like you're struggling with the most? And let's say that they're taking a calculus class and they say, well, calculus has just been really, really tough for me. So you repeat it back, and it's just as simple as that. So you say, so what I hear you saying is it's the math or the calculus that's causing you the most trouble. Again, just acknowledging, letting them know that they've been heard. And then you could ask, what is it that you're experiencing there? What's going on with you? And they might say, well, they're frustrated. They feel like it's too hard. Whatever they say, then you move to that next step, which is to validate what they're going through. And so you, again, after you repeated back what they're doing, then you validate. You say, well, given the fact that you're so committed to your grades, I can see why this would be upsetting for you. Can you see how you're validating their feelings or what they're experiencing? So that's the next step in this building connection process. So you start by asking some curiosity questions, then you acknowledge, repeat back what you heard, and then you validate the feelings that they're experiencing. Again, keep in mind, at this point, we're not trying to fix anything. We're not trying to move it forward. We're just providing some space for them to share what's going on for them so that they can let that negative energy dissipate a little bit, get them back grounded. And then the next step after that is when we move into empowerment and how can we move things forward or come up with a solution. Right now, we're talking about building connection and providing that safe place for them. So again, ask those curiosity questions, acknowledge and validate what they're going through. Those are simple steps that you can do, and you might be amazed at how much impact that can have for your teenager if you do that. So hope you found some value in that. Build that connection that way. And again, I'll just throw out, if you start to feel yourself getting sucked in a little bit you start to worry or be a little frustrated, go back to that mindset shift. Get yourself back into that love-based mindset, and then step back into those curiosity questions, acknowledge and validate. So this is a little bit of a dance that you have to do around that. So anyway, hope you found some value in that. Back to those, remember I mentioned I had that free resource for you. Those are 10 questions you should never ask your teenager. Think of these as like conversation killers. And then also have 10 great questions. These are the conversation starters. And this is a free resource. You'll find a link below. You can go to that web page and you can sign up to download that resource. And again, the whole purpose of this is to get your teenager to open up a little bit more. And you do that by asking better questions. So anyway, start with that resource. I think you'll find it can be really, really helpful for you. So anyway, thanks a lot for stopping in and checking out this video. I just can't tell you how much I appreciate you taking the time to engage with us, and I just really appreciate your commitment to being a better parent and to being there for your teenager. So the more we can do, the more we learn and grow, the better off our families are going to be, and we'll be able to bring more peace, joy, warmth, and love into your home. So again, thanks again for your commitment. So again, we got part 3 of this. We're going to talk about that empowerment phase. Okay, now that you've built that connection, how can we move them forward? So be sure to check that out as well. We'll have part 3, and we'll talk about some empowerment steps that you can take. Thanks again. Hope you found some value. And remember, until next time, a change in perspective changes everything.